Care package inbound.
Hello there, my friends. Stay a while and listen. This is the next in my series of dragon videos, and I'm going to be covering the blue and to a lesser extent the bronze dragon. Now, if you look at blue dragons and bronze dragons, you will see that they are opposite sides of the same coin. If you look at the ancient bronze dragon, they have these big sort of sweeping back bits on the side of their head, which look like big large ears, right? And I would like to think that they're a design consideration where the designers of the monsters are looking at their environment that they live in and designing their anatomy accordingly, because you'd want to keep your ears and things clear of sand and stuff getting inside of your ear hole. And bronze dragons live in coastal regions and things like that, and they are quite often in competition with blue dragons if they live in sort of sandy areas. Now the blue dragons, on the other hand, like dry, dusty, desert and arid regions where they can make themselves at home inside the sand. And a lot of the things that, like when I think of a blue dragon, I think of Jabba the Hutt. And here's one of the interesting things about the blue dragons. Here's a blue dragon miniature from Wizard of the Coast, just to give me inspiration. Now, they, unlike say a red dragon, blue dragons aren't alone. They are the mafiosos of the dragon world. They're the ones that like lording it over other beings, lesser beings. And you can't lord it over other beings unless you have them around you to fawn and supplicate themselves to you all the time. They like being the king of the castle. In this case, it's a sand castle. Now, they are impressive beasties. They're not the most attractive of dragons, if you ask me. They've got the big jagged sort of backwards going horn in the front of their head. But I mean, you know, dragons like spiky bits, and they have plenty of them. And they're a touchy sort of dragon that does not tolerate anybody doubting their strength, much like a mafia boss would tolerate anyone seeing them as weak. So they will make a point of taking out anybody that gets in their way. And unlike other dragons, they're not ruled by their rage. They are slow, methodical killers. So these things are quite happy in a desert environment to injure your horses and wait, cackling with glee, perhaps mocking you from a distance, as you are left to the elements that they call home. And you have to, you know, wait for your horse to die horribly in the desert conditions, and then start trekking across the sand. Meanwhile, this thing is just waiting to kill you. And you can beg and you can plead, but you know the damage has already been done. You really should have been begging and pleading from the very outset. Now, so Jabba the Hutt's palace, right? In this case, it's a crystal palace because they love to burrow themselves away in the sands, and they love sapphires more than anything other sort of treasure. So everything's going to be columns of crystallized sand and stone and things like that, marble sculptures and things. Anything sort of blue and crystalline will appeal to them, and they are individuals with individual personal tastes. So they may have creatures of blue skin, they may have all sorts of stuff. You know, they may have sculptures of arcane nature which arc lightning in interesting ways and go wild with it. I mean, they are creatures that electricity is the element of their nature. So think of all the amazing things that you can do with electricity: neon sort of strobing gases, or musical lightning bolts that play tones according to whatever they feel like. Dubstep themes. You know, you could have them with manservants and things that they can twitch and zap, and have flesh golems, for instance. Flesh golems are a perfect marriage for a blue dragon. I mean, flesh golems are healed by lightning, empowered by lightning. So you put an adult dragon with a bunch of flesh golem goons, you've got an almost unstoppable force, and a blue dragon will probably go out of its way to have tribute paid to it in the form of flesh golem servants by anybody who has the knowledge, and they would probably go out of their way to find the knowledge of how to make a flesh golem. So if you've got an alchemist or somebody like that who's wanting to make flesh golems, perhaps they have to get the knowledge off the local blue dragon. Yeah, tricky. Now, the flesh golem thing aside, which is a fantastic idea, I must admit, blue dragons are impressive fighters. They have a line of electricity they can fire as a breath weapon. Now, a line of electricity, think about it. A lightning bolt generally arcs all over the place. These guys fire a 5-foot wide concentrated bolt of plasma energy. It would go off like boom, right? Can you imagine this thing? It doesn't so much as breathe electricity, it just goes BAM! And there's a line of brilliant white light, and everything in its range is dead. Because like an ancient blue dragon will if that thing hits you and you fail your quite impressive saving throw, you're taking 88 points of damage. Ugh, that is devastating, absolutely devastating. I don't care who you are. Now, that aside from their devastating breath weapon, they are physically capable of taking you out one-on-one, but they don't. They are very intelligent fighters, they're very patient fighters, and they don't risk themselves unnecessarily. They don't get upset about things. They will send in their goons, and if that doesn't work, they will collapse their cave caverns around you, their sand pits and things. They are famous for having sinkholes, for having sandstorms, dust devils and things like that around them. They are masters of their element, and they electrify and staticify everything around them. Staticify, is that a word? They charge everything with static electricity, and it almost would seem like telekinesis with their ability to manipulate motes of dust and anything sort of statically charged around you. They could easily fling fabric at you and wrap your face in fabric while they just blast you or just mock you from the distance as they send in their goons to clean you out. Now, whole desert tribes would pay homage to these things, and basically they would be the unofficial boss of the desert that they were in, because the prospect of having your caravans attacked by these hungry blue devils any time that they feel like it is just too horrifying to contemplate. So it would be a fact of life that people that live in deserts have to deal with blue dragons. And the blue dragons, I mean, the world is their oyster. The desert regions of the middle of pretty much any world you can think of are fairly extensive, and deserts have a tendency to roll over top of civilizations. So the inexorable influence of a blue dragon would tend to creep across civilizations, and they would bring desolation, parched desert lands, and a leeching of any goodness around them as they unmercifully kill crops and things like that, because they just don't care. And in the end, they would be in their palace, their crystal palace, with their snivelling minions all around them, and you would have to fight your way through everybody in order to get to the thing which is bothering them the most. But they don't see it, because all they can see is the consequences of going up against the mafia boss, and that is the blue dragon. Yeah. If you compare to something like a green dragon is very much interested in lording it over you psychologically. The blue dragon is just interested in being the lord. So they are, what is a king without a kingdom? They need to have all of these underlings around them. So that's the thing that really stands out to me for the blue dragon, is that they are arrogant megalomaniacs, right? So they need an audience, but not only that, they are plotting masterminds. So they don't have an emotional need to be powerful over everyone all the time. They have an emotional need to be satisfied that they are the top of the food chain, and that others are subservient to them, and that nobody doubts their strength. But other than that, they feel no need to prove it every day. They prove it by their very existence, and by the fact that everybody kowtows to them and gives them everything that they need. They're quite happy to just lord it over everyone, sitting on a pile of sapphire gems with perfect crystalline bits of artwork all around them and scintillating colours playing across the electric boogaloo dance floor in their mafia den. But other than that, they're the Jabba the Hutt in the corner. They're the ho ho ho, and they're very unlikely to be choked by the slave girl. So yeah, blue dragons, devastating, and excellent mercurial masters of the deserts.